time for another Somali language resource review. A Dictionary of Somali Verbs in Everyday Contexts by Liban Ahmed. We're going to get straight into it after we thank our sponsors. I'm sure all of you have some sort of dream of becoming fluent in another language and getting to enjoy all of the benefits that it can bring, whether that's work opportunities, opportunities to travel, or if it's like me and you just want a chance to sweet talk the in-laws. But there's a simple fact about learning a new language, and that's that you need real human, real contact time to practice and to drill your new language. You may be able to learn a ton of grammar and language concepts from resources online and books you can get on Amazon, but real fluency demands real human contact. italki is a website and an app which is teeming with supportive teachers, where you can get the guidance that you need tailored to your learning needs. On italki, a whole bunch of people, in fact, over 3 million people, are learning languages to a level of fluency with quality and effective teachers who are also native speakers. As you can see, there are over 100 languages available, including English, Spanish, Italian, Chinese, Russian, and much, much more. Not only does italki have over 5,000 teachers ready and waiting for you, but it's affordable, so you don't need an enormous budget to reach your language learning goals. To get $10 free credit after you buy your first lesson on italki, click the link in the description below. Assalamu alaikum everybody, this is your brother Sam and a very warm welcome back to the Sam of Somalia channel. As promised, due to popular demand, we are going to do a little review, a little talk about a Dictionary of Somali Verbs in Everyday Context by Liban Ahmed. Firstly, it looks almost exactly the same as the other book, so don't buy 2 copies of the other one, or 2 copies of this on Amazon. Make sure you get one of each. Good news is this is a little bit cheaper. You know, the last one, the Somali grammar revision that we did, is about £13 for the print. This is about £8, I think. So together, I think you can get them both for like £20, which works out quite nicely. So you just stick them both in your cart, make sure you get them both. If you do get them, as I said, use my link in the description, inshallah. I'll get a commission on that, and that will help to support the channel, inshallah. But anyway, so basically it is this size, they're both about the same size, which, as I said about the last resource we reviewed, surprised me that a Dictionary of Somali Verbs would be that small, and it is literally like an A5 size, normal kind of novel size book, and paperback as well. There isn't a hardback available, you can't get a hardback, and you know, the blurb is almost exactly the same, like it looks like they were both produced in a similar time. Yeah, but I've never seen a book for learning a language before, which is a dictionary of verbs used in everyday contexts, and it includes pretty much everything in the world that I like about teaching languages and learning languages, and that's that it combines theory and practice really well. Like quite often as an Arabic teacher, I'm teaching grammar and theory, or I'm teaching like a walkthrough of the stories of the prophets, or I'm teaching a walkthrough of Arabic poetry or something like that. But often we create resources, we find resources that are a really beautiful combination of the two, and you know, this is one of those, right? This is one of those. Like, it is a dictionary, an alphabetically organised dictionary. Somali alphabet, I should mention. There are things, like, for example, there is an entry for sh at the beginning, sh, together. Obviously, sh isn't a letter of the English alphabet. So, Somali alphabet, you know, organised alphabetically, according to the Somali alphabet. And, you know, there's maybe 10 to 20 verbs for each one of the letters. You know, so we're talking a few hundred verbs in here. And it's really nice. Like, there are just real examples of using each of those verbs in real context. And I'm using this a lot to plan my videos, especially my proverbs video. Like, when I find a verb in a Somali proverb and I really want to understand how that verb is used or how it's different to similar verbs, I always go to this now. And another thing is how I talked about with the grammar revision, how grammar terms are being kept the same at the moment in Somali, which is just such a relief, that there are 5 categories of verbs in Somali, and they're numbered. There's 1, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, and these are categorized like that as well. So there's really nice sort of a congruency, I guess, between this book and the other book of Liban Ahmed's and Martin Orwin's Colloquial Somali too. So then something else that I really like about this is there are sometimes verbs that you hear used in Somali, but you might not have a grasp of where that comes from or how it's used in other contexts, or like what, you know, what form of a verb it is. And a good example of that, I'll see if I can find it, inshallah, is the verb kadi. So I hear, because obviously I used to work in a dugsi, somewhere around Somali children, and I have a child, and my wife speaks to my child in Somali, and I've looked after my nieces and nephews a lot who obviously speak Somali, and the word kadi, for those of you who don't know, it means like to pee, it means to urinate. But I never thought about it being used as a verb and actually how to conjugate it and where that verb comes from. And even verbs like that you kind of take for granted and you hear used all the time, they're actually in here. Which is quite cool. Yeah, there's the verb kadi. It's a verb 2a, form 2a, and it means to urinate. Yeah. Miad kadi sa. I haven't even looked at the translation, but it's like, have you, okay, I'm not going to use the word a lot. But anyway, right, and there are obviously entries for letters of the alphabet, as I say, that we don't have in English, right? So there's there's also a ch, K and H together. So, I mean, every single one of these verbs has examples, and has information about a noun that comes from that verb, and it used in literally in everyday contexts, right? It's really, really nice, and just like the other book, it's a really, really nice complement to Martin Orwin's book. And like the grammar revision, there's no exercises, like there's no things to use a pencil and for you to answer, and there's no translations or anything like that, which might be a drawback to it, but I don't know. But it is supposed to be a reference work. Like, even though it's small, it is supposed to be a reference work, so I suppose you wouldn't expect there to be, work exercises in it and stuff. And then at the end, there are conjugation tables, which is so helpful. Conjugation tables, and then even like in Somali, there are little things you can put on the beginning of verbs. So you might have heard some verbs used with sa. You can say like sa sa'da, sa sa'da. And there's also there's other little bits like that, like sa or si that can go before verbs. And there's information about those little bolt-ons for verbs at the back too. So loads of things that you would have just taken for granted when you hear Somali. You really get to understand the nuts and bolts of their grammar in this book. And even though I say that it's small, and it is a small book, like, and the other book is small too, but it's packed with stuff. Like, the font is small, so, like I said about the last book, Liban Ahmed, the author, could have easily made it a bigger book if you wanted to just make it full of fluff. You could have easily have done that, but he didn't, which I really appreciate. It's really nice. It's really easy just to stick them in your bag and travel with them and stuff as well. So I'm a big fan of this book. Like, I had some criticisms of the other book. This is not really criticisms. It's just observations about limitations that it might have, but really like it. This is always at my desk. It's always within arm's reach. So congratulations, Liban Ahmed. A beautiful book, which I encourage all of my audience to buy, inshallah. You can go into the description. I'll have my link to it as well, inshallah, so you go ahead and buy it. Whilst you're over there, if you do want to kind of get a pack together, then I do recommend getting Martin Orwin's Colloquial Somali. That book probably does need a revision. I've spoken to the author myself. He taught me, Martin Orwin, or at least he conducted my oral exam. And he even accepts that the book probably needs a revision, but that doesn't matter. Like, at our level as beginners, and I'm including myself in this, it's perfectly fine for us. Like, no Somalis are going to be offended by us using, wad instead of bad or something. Like, that's not going to be a big problem, okay? And it's little mistakes like that that need to be ironed out in that book. And I did actually notice an Arabic mistake in there as well. But anyway, get it. I highly recommend it. And you can get them all together for whatever it costs. I can't remember. It's probably £100 actually. No, maybe £70 or £60. I think you probably get them all together. The book, or maybe even 50. Even as little as 50 if you get Martin Orwin's book secondhand. But anyways, that's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you get this book. I hope you enjoy it and you benefit from it and you use it. And if you do have it, let me know what you think about it in the comments below. If you have any other questions about this book or any other resources that I've reviewed on this channel, then please just stick them in the comments and let me know. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Have a very nice day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.